Everybody, welcome back to the KSS YouTube channel. On today's episode, we have an exciting episode. That's Jeremy's ES1, another 7th gen. So right here, there's Jeremy. This car has a K20 A3, so just like a base model RSX, which we swapped in last year. This was last summer. It's got a Type S transmission. Just a nice manifold though, like the actual aluminum PRB manifold. What the swap is going to be is, this is like 160 horsepower. We're going to be throwing in this engine here, which if you guys remember, last year we blew up a VTEC lock motor, which was a K24 VTEC lock, CRV block, TSX pistons and rods, Type S oil pump, and a VTEC lock head. So I rebuilt that last year with new rings and more like other pistons. I didn't put the cracked pistons, even if only one cracked. I didn't put the other 3 either because they had been through the same amount of detonation. So I just put another fresh set of pistons and rods. Anyway, so that's a VTEC lock head. We're going to be taking that off, and he got a Z3 head, so it's going to have a full VTEC head, and then it's going to have also Z3 cams because that's the best that we have available. We're going to be throwing those on, and then put a Type S oil pump on it, and then we're going to get into the swappage. So Jeremy's just on the dismantellation. But yeah, so we're getting to work right now. Got the crane, and we'll see you in the next shot. So right now I'm just going to get the head gasket ready. I have all my surfaces cleaned on the block and the head. Well, the head is machined, so I didn't clean that one. But yeah, so what I'm going to be doing is using this copper spray gasket. We've done this before. These blocks are old and they might have some imperfections. That's what this is for little nicks or whatever. It'll take care of it and fill in that space. So I always spray copper spray gasket on it. So I just have my gasket hanging here. So I'm just going to spray that a nice decent-ish coat. But yeah, so we're going to spray that and then we're going to be slapping the head on. Here's the copper spray I was talking about. It just makes a nice surface of like a copper gel spray, whatever. And if there's, like I said, if there's any cracks, it's going to fill them in with copper and seal that surface. So yeah, the head's over there, freshly machined head. We're going to slap that on in like the next 5 minutes. Okay, so we're going to be putting the rocker assembly onto the head. I just got the LMA springs in place. Jeremy brought me a rocker assembly, which if you are not paying attention, you can lose all the VTEC pins like so. There's also a spring included. I just had some spares, so I had to like do, I'd say like 3/4 of these, making sure that all the springs and pins were in place. They are all in place now. They're all up. I'm gonna show Jeremy a trick. What you do is you take the whole assembly, you squish that in with one hand, squish that in with one hand, and you have these all up. If they're down, it's never going to go on. So what you do is you just squish it and then slap it onto the head. So that worked perfectly fine. I held, like I said, both ends together, squished, and then these just all came down when I released. Now still make sure before they go on the valves that they are together and they don't spread apart, because if not, you could still lose your springs again, like I said. We just did the the valve train. So like I said, the whole rocker assembly. Now I just put the cams in. I put some pins in the back because there's holes on the K-series to let the things at their top dead center designated spot. Now the crank, when I put it ahead and like some cams in, I have the pistons in the middle so nothing can slap, just in case. So right now the crank just needs to rotate 90 degrees and I'll bring it to top dead center. Then I'm going to put my chain on, my tensioner. I'm also going to clean these surfaces before I do that because they're kind of gross. But yeah, so next up is going to be the timing chain. Jeremy's still on the disassembly of the car. But yeah, I'm still on this engine and we're going to power through this right now. We got the engine out. It's right here. So right now we're going to be transferring everything over. So like I said, we need the oil pump out of this car, and I could just put the oil pump chain on the gear right now because the oil pump chain goes on this part of the gear and then the timing chain is on this part of the gear. So what I'm going to do is just wait for everything. I'll have the oil pump, put the chain on, then time this engine. And then after that, right now I'm taking the transmission off, then all a bunch of bells and whistles. So like timing cover bolts, the oil pump, like I said, the intake manifold, all needs to be transferred onto this engine here. So yeah, we're going to transfer everything over and then we'll keep you updated in the next shot. And then hopefully today, but maybe tomorrow, we'll get the whole new setup into this car right now. So let's get on to it. So we are at the end, well, near the end of our day. It's probably going to go in tonight, but I'm not expecting a startup. So yeah, everything's ready to be placed, but right now what we have done is the flywheel and the clutch are all on. The motor is fully assembled, timed and everything. It's that time. The transmission's on. We're gonna throw it in right now. The transmission's on. It's just hanging there for now. We're gonna move it and then probably adjust the strap to move it, because when you're taking just the engine, you put it in the center of the engine, the strap. When you have the transmission on, you're gonna have to balance it, so you move the strap around the last cylinder on cylinder number 4, and then it balances out quite nice. So yeah, Jeremy's just tightening the starter. We got everything pretty much ready to roll, clear out the area, and then we're gonna slap the engine in probably the next 15-20 minutes. All right guys, the engine's in. We have everything tightened. We just dropped it in with the engine crane. So I'm gonna put the axles in, and then Jeremy's gonna continue with the all the like small stuff, like the harness and all the like little finicky stuff, like all the little technical stuff. But yeah, the engine is in the car. I'm gonna go finish those axles and then probably continue tomorrow. He's thinking about staying like until who knows when and finishing it. Will it start up tonight? I'm not sure. That's up to Jeremy here. But yeah, like I said, the engine's in, and yeah, we'll see you in the next shot, which will it be started? I'm not sure, but I'm gonna go get on those axles and probably fall asleep, maybe under the car. So yeah, we'll see you in the next shot. The morning after, no, it's the afternoon after. I just lied to you guys. We've been working all morning, just finishing everything up. So I just made a tune. I checked all over the VTEC, the miscellaneous, throttle, which I'm gonna have to calibrate in the car. We set it to about a TSX with just a ghetto tune. It should work for now. But yeah, like I said, we gotta just calibrate the throttle position sensor through the car. So what you do is you have it just the key on, no throttle, calibrate, and then 100%, and then calibrate, and then it'll tell the throttle position sensor where it is. So yeah, we're about to do that, upload a tune and see if this thing fired up. We already cranked it without the ground for the injectors, which is right here. So yeah, it should have oil pressure. We're gonna fire it up and see in the next few minutes, see what happens. So here we go. We were priming the vehicle earlier. Well, I just had the key on to upload the tune, but then Jeremy, stop, there's fuel everywhere. So it was this injector here, number 3. We take the fuel rail off, and it was just yeah, like I said, it was pissing fuel. But as you can see here, we had 2 O-rings on the injector that were bad, like they had a rip in them. So that was most likely what was causing the leak. The system is primed right now, like there's pressure in the system right now and there's no leaks, so we should be good. All right, so yeah, that tune is uploading, and then we'll film the startup in like the next 5 minutes. So we have the tune uploaded. We're gonna try and attempt this to start it up. We couldn't see the throttle, but it's working here. I just added it into the K-Pro. But all right, let's give this a shot. Car to a smooth idle. It was going up and down like a bad idle air control valve problem, which I think this car might have sometimes, but it was going a little bit too much, and I was like, there has to be an air leak, and we had forgotten this hose, so I just literally took it and it stopped, and now it's been idling smooth. Now when you put a new tensioner in, there might not be full tension on the chain, and it's oil pressure controlled, that tensioner. So like I had this issue with my turbo sieve last year, the 7th gen. Excuse me. So that might be the ticking, but the car does need a valve adjustment. I didn't have the tool to do it in car, and without the tool in car is really difficult because you need a socket and then it might go out of adjustment if you do it wrong. So I ordered the tool, and Jeremy's just gonna come back this week and I'll do that for him. But yeah, that's pretty much all that's left, but he's gonna roll out of here. And yeah, so there's the K24 swap into the 7th gen out of the the replacement of the K20 A3 that was in it. But yeah, so that's done. I'm really excited. We popped that out in less than 2 days. We have about I'd say a good 15 hours work, maybe 16, and we got this all done. So I'm really happy about that. But yeah, so the next clip will be Jeremy probably just driving off, but we got this engine swap done in a day. He's actually getting this ready, and he's happy that it's ready because next weekend is JDM Fest and he's gonna be bringing this car. All right, it's first maiden voyage with the K24. See if Jeremy likes this. Yeah, like I said, he's gonna come back for a retorque on the engine mounts. So they're just gunned down. I always gun them down, do some driving, which he has enough. He's quite far from here. So yeah, do some driving, come back, tighten all the engine mounts, go over the crank pulley. That's just gunned on too, but we didn't have it was in the air. So we're gonna be retorquing the crank pulley. So yeah, he's gonna take off with it now, and yeah, so this thing will be doing some street pulls, and it'll be doing some actual real pulls at JDM Fest. So here we go, first maiden voyage with the K24. There you go. Jeremy came back because I told him come back for a valve adjustment because we had put the engine in and it's difficult. I waited for the tool. I got it in yesterday, so he came today for the valve adjustment. I checked over his motor mounts. Yeah, so here the car is up. I just put some pieces of wood so when I put it back down, we won't scrape the bumper on the jack because he's on coilover, so it's a little lowered. But I think we'll get some little, maybe a slight tune action in. We're gonna put the laptop on. He had a Russian K-Pro called Honda Vert, just temporarily, but he just got his hands on a V3 K-Pro Honda, so we're just gonna go on the street and just do like a small, see what it's doing tune, not a full tune there. But yeah, so we're gonna go on the street and I'll film some pulls. Here we go. All right, so we just had an issue with VTEC. I just went on a forum to like remind myself. I haven't messed with my VTEC like when we were tuning our turbo cars. Me and Aiden, we haven't looked at that stuff in a long time. So I just went on a forum and I looked at some VTEC settings and I just put some in right off the forum and we hit VTEC right away. We weren't even getting into the, hold on, let me not data log for a second. Right here, we weren't even getting into this map here, which is the VTEC, and we just hit it quickly right now. So, all right, we're gonna hit it for a pass and it'll go into VTEC. Limp mode, eh?
Yep.
All right, so we have some stuff to figure out, but it does go into VTEC, but I think we have a voltage issue because of that code, and it's going into VTEC 1 out of 10 times, so we got some stuff to figure out. So another thing we thought of was in his error codes, they're gonna pop up in a second. This thing's a little slow. Well, it's not there right now, but sometimes he'll get a VSS malfunction. Now, VTEC also has a speed setting right here. You'll see in a second. Give it 2 hours. Okay, minimum speed for VTEC operation. So what I did is I went into miscellaneous right here, and I went into the speed sensor. I just put no speed sensor, so he's not gonna have any speed on his car, but the VTEC is just gonna be off the engine signals to the ECU, not the minimum speed. So we're gonna go on the highway right now and see if we could do a pass and it'll hit VTEC correctly, because his VTEC was going on and off, but also his VSS, so I think that might be a culprit. So yeah, let's go do that pass on the highway and find out if that was the problem. We were confirmed in VTEC there. Yes, we weren't like completely into VTEC. I saw it for a long time. So let's see this highway pull. Nice, it works. It's the VSS the issue. Yeah, it just stayed in VTEC, like on this, there's 2 red, the one on the right, it stayed in it for quite a while, so I know that the VSS is the issue. So we disabled it, and like, look at his VSS. We're not going 20 kilometers an hour. So, yeah. We found the issue, it goes into VTEC, this motor works, and I'm happy that we found the problem that easy. So since the problem was intermittent, with VTEC and the VSS, I was like, wait a second, if they're both going at the same time, like they're both intermittent issues, and VSS is the VSS also can control how VTEC is engaged. I just disabled the VSS, and it's running no speed, and there's no minimum speed for VTEC, so it's just based off the engine data to the ECU, not the wheel speed. So yeah, we got into VTEC, and I'm very happy that we found that issue, because I was really confused as to why it wasn't going into VTEC, but it works. So we got a VTEC engine. Hell yeah. So we'll just park this thing at home, and yeah, we'll finish out the video there. All right, we're back home. The test drive with VTEC worked. So I think Jeremy's happy.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is pretty much his first actual VTEC car. The other one, like I said, was just a normal K20 A3 out of a base RSX. So I think he likes it, and I'm happy it worked. We did the valve adjustment. I tightened all the mounts. There was one or two bolts that weren't loose, but they were like not fully tight. So I'm glad I told them to do that and come back for the tightening of the mounts and the valve adjustment. But yeah, that's it for this episode. It was a fun build for 15 hours. We just calculated a 15-hour engine swap, putting a head on and then putting it into the car at nighttime. But yeah, so that's it for this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. How's never?